Trudi at the Food Bank by Henry Limbert. It wasn't that Trudi didn't want to go to the food bank. Trudi loved going on adventures, especially when she was allowed to wear her favorite yellow wellies. Trudi did have some questions though. She had been to a bank before with Granny Hazel, and she did like lots of different food like hot dogs and pineapples. She wasn't sure just what a food bank was. Would the food come out of the little hole in the wall like money? And if she saved up lots of carrots, could she swap them for ice cream? What is the food bank? Trudi asked. Mum explained that the food bank is a place where we can get some food a bit like the supermarket. How can it be only a bit like the supermarket? Trudi asked. And can we buy doughnuts? At the food bank we don't have to buy the food, said Mum. But they might not have doughnuts. What's the point of a supermarket that doesn't have doughnuts? Mum explained. Sometimes we might need to use the food bank so that we have enough money to pay for other things like hot baths, bus tickets and warm clothes like your scarf and wellies. Trudi asked if Mrs. Murphy would be there. Mrs. Murphy lived next door and worked at the big supermarket. I don't think so, said Mum. I don't think she works in every shop. But you work in lots of places, said Trudi. Trudi's mum used to work at the library. But after it closed, she got new jobs. Now she is a shop assistant, pizza delivery driver and a cleaner. Mrs. Murphy might not be at the food bank, but Trudi always liked to see Mrs. Murphy because she wore shiny shoes like a princess. Sometimes Trudi wondered if Princess Mrs. Murphy might ride to work on a unicorn, though she'd never actually seen this happen. Who will be there? Asked Trudi. Will everyone have new scarves and wellies like me? I think there will be all sorts of people, said Mum. She explained that lots of people are finding it hard at the moment. People might have lots of reasons to need a little help. Maybe they don't have the job they used to have like her. Or they need money to help look after their family and pay for heating and electricity. But what people? Asked Trudi. Trudi's mum said almost anyone could be there. On the news it said that some teachers and nurses had started using food banks, like the milkman and the post lady, and the lollipop lady and the greengrocer and my teacher Miss Holmberg, said Trudi. Maybe, said Mum. And a cowboy and an astronaut and a knight with a dragon and an octopus, said Trudi. Mum said that was a lot of people and they should wait and see. As they passed the bakery, Trudi wondered if cowgirl Trudi might ride a unicorn like Mrs. Murphy. Or maybe a dragon. She decided a dinosaur might be best. When they reached the high street, Mum and Trudi stopped to look at the toys and sweets in the newsagent's window. Mum pointed to a little notice stuck on the glass. It was asking for people to help at the food bank. She said that maybe they could help on Saturday morning. Then Trudi would get to meet all the people who come to visit. I'd like to work in a bank, said Trudi. Can I wear a suit and tie? Mum said maybe not, but if a job came up for a tiny secret agent, perhaps she could wear one then. Trudi saw her friends Michael and Delilah outside the shoe shop and told them she was going to the food bank. Delilah said her auntie went to the food bank and got lots of soup. Trudi wasn't sure she wanted lots of soup. She hoped there might be doughnuts instead. At the end of the road was the community centre. We're here, said Mum. This isn't a bank at all, said Trudi. This is where I go to brownies. Mum explained that a community centre is lots of things at different times. Sometimes it's a badminton court. Sometimes they have pantomimes, and sometimes it's playgroup or brownies. Today it's a food bank. Inside the hall were some tables set up with lots of different foods, bottles of squash and washing powder. Trudi recognized Mr. Lewis from the greengrocer and a lady from playgroup who was making cups of tea. At the back of the hall were some tables set out like a little cafe. And Trudi saw Toby and Charlie from school sitting at a table with their dad. Charlie was dressed as an astronaut, and Trudi looked round nervously for any dragons or octopi. Mum collected some food and talked to the helpers, while Toby and Charlie came over to help Trudi look for doughnuts. They looked everywhere, even under the tables, but all they could see was lots of helpers' legs and empty boxes. Mr. Lewis asked if they needed any help. "Do you have any free doughnuts, please, and thank you?" asked Trudi. Mr. Lewis thought carefully and said they had no doughnuts today as each day was a surprise at the food bank. But if they sat nicely at the table, he would find them a treat. Toby and Charlie sat with Trudi and she thought about her adventure and seeing her friends and how much she was looking forward to being able to help Mr. Lewis next week. Mr. Lewis brought out a plate of different biscuits, the most exciting one being an iced yellow ring biscuit. "It's the right shape," thought Trudi, "and best of all it matches my wellies." Trudi at the Food Bank is available at bookstores and on Amazon Kindle. A free download is also available on request.